Hey Boise Startup Week, my name is Toby Hawley with Great Social Life. I'm so excited to be here to chat with you guys. I'm happy for the opportunity. I am going to be talking about my top 5 questions that I get asked all the freaking time about social media as it applies to entrepreneurs, small business owners, and the like, and how to make it work for you. So, question number 1, why social media? It's important that you understand the why in order to be motivated to implement the how. So my favorite thing about using social media for advertising and marketing is analytics, data, and metrics. If you think about previous forms of advertising, right? We have print media, we have video. They're expensive, and I don't necessarily know when a piece of content is performing well and how much return I'm getting on my investment. Whereas with social media, because I've curated it in a certain way, I know immediately if a piece of content is resonating with my audience. I can see who's viewed things, for how long, and getting that real-time feedback as a marketer is critical for success. The second thing that's really, really important to consider with social media, your follower base is your focus group. Back in the day, you had to pay for a focus group, right? Which is another side part of this. Social media is totally free. Facebook now owns Instagram, and the analytics and the data that they have at no cost to you as a business owner is, it blows my mind every time I look at the numbers. The other benefit of having this focus group of your followers is they love interactive content. So people like to give their opinion on things, and keeping that in mind as you're creating is just super, super helpful. But really the data is the key. Moving on to question number 2. So this is kind of a 2-part question. What is influencer marketing, and how do I kind of get my feet wet in that world as someone who's brand new to it? I want you to think of influencer marketing as quite simply word-of-mouth marketing, but on steroids. So, and in the virtual sense. That's all it is. It's just people who love to share and talk about whatever their niche is, whatever their stuff is that they like to share. So finding those partnerships of people that are active in your space, whether you have a product or a service or an event that you want to generate some buzz around, get some attendance going. Influencer marketing is a great way to kind of inexpensively get the word out in a big, big way. So if you're new to influencer marketing, I know that it can be hard. It's difficult to measure influence, and it's very new technology as far as marketing goes. I think I saw a stat last month, something to the effect of like 80% of increase in the keyword Google search for influencer marketing. So point being, it's trending upwards. In 2021, you really cannot afford to not get a piece of this pie for your business. So my best tip for kind of getting started with influencer marketing, if you're new to this, is local influencers. Local influencers, they're geolocationally based in a lot of the content that they create. And one of my favorite parts about that is they tend to be, and this you could say for really any niche of content, we tend to all know each other. So I myself am a local influencer here in Boise. I've been doing it for 5 years. And I know my fellow local influencers. So when any of us get deals or events or promos or anything like that, we share that with each other. Obviously, sharing and getting the word out is what we do best. So knowing who the major players are in your market can be really helpful, particularly when it comes to events. So I know what you might be thinking. As a person who's been in the influencer industry for a while now, I know that the term influencer marketing and influencer in general can be a little bit polarizing. It can be a bit of a buzzword, but my goal for my clients and for you guys is to kind of lean into that a little bit and use some of that buzzword energy in your own marketing and kind of integrate it in. Question number 3 that I always get in my business is, what do I post? I get this one all the time and I love it. So what to post? So the process that I teach to my clients is essentially creating your content arcs. And all of these are, I generally suggest that you have 3 to 5 arcs that you create your content around. A quick little exercise that you could do if you want to get started on this is write out 10 things. Just make a list of 10 different things that come to mind. And so when you're developing your arcs, one place that can be really helpful to look is at your brand's values. That can be helpful kind of guideline of what's important to you, what's important to your business. Some other things that you can think about when you're making your list, ask yourself, what type of content do you like to consume? Why are you on social media? Because odds are your ideal clients that you're going to be interacting with are probably on social media for the same reasons. Reasons such as inspiration, connection to friends and family, education, entertainment. You know, we're online a lot of times to kind of check out a little bit and just cruise. People are there to consume. They want to see what you have to share. Particularly now with COVID and everything going on with that, there are more eyes than ever searching social media. They're typing in ideas and concepts into their search bars, using hashtags. So these are all just really helpful ways to kind of get your mind going. And the other thing that I've seen for myself and for my clients is that once you start creating content, I don't want to see you guys getting stuck in analysis paralysis, right? We can overanalyze something until it's dead, essentially, where we're like, we overanalyze it and then we never end up posting and we never hit the share button. And that's where I don't want you guys to get stuck, because the beauty of this immediate feedback that we get in a social media realm, you'll know what types of content. Once you start sharing, it will become very clear to you based off of the data what your audience wants to see versus what they're not engaging with as much. So just to give a little context for this subject, so my top 3 content arcs for my own process, number 1 is, obviously, as I mentioned, I'm a local influencer. So outdoor Idaho, local events are all things that are fundamental to the content that I put out. That's why people follow me. The second thing for me is humor with heart. So entertainment is a big part of what I do. I try to work in pop culture, maybe the occasional reference to a meme. My audience really likes that kind of content. And I also like to share life lessons, that inspiration piece, that education. Those perform well for me. And then the last thing for my process is funky houses. So I got started in real estate. That was kind of how I got into this entrepreneurship world. And so unique homes was always part of my content, but I'm actually in the process now of phasing that out. So I want your arcs to be fluid. I want your profile to be fluid. I want this to be a living, breathing thing based on your goals, your business offerings. Maybe you're rolling out a new service, so you can make some slight pivots in your content. But really what we want to do with this, we want to teach our followers what to expect from us. Having some consistency, and like anything else, it's a balancing act of consistent content with a little excitement and unpredictability mixed in, just to make sure that when you maybe have a new story feed, people want to click on it because they know what they want to see. Question number 4, the algorithm, friend or foe? I get this a lot. I know that the algorithm can seem like this very large concept. It's always changing. You never know how to work with it. So let me break it down for you. So the algorithm, all that it is, it's a virtual curation of what it thinks you most want to see based on the feedback that you give it, i.e. liking, commenting, sharing, and saving. Those are all the most obvious ways. And there's also some less obvious ways that the algorithm tracks and monitors what we're doing while we're in the app. Things like if you're scrolling along on Instagram and you pause, maybe you're reading a long caption, maybe you're scrolling through a carousel post. The algorithm tracks that data and it remembers you're communicating, I like this content. That's what that means. And so when you engage with something, you're going to see more of that type of content in your feed and higher up in your feed. So some other simple ways to kind of use that to your benefit, for example, story posts. If you hit the back button, if you rewind, that gets tracked. If you push your finger down and hold on a story while you're looking at it, maybe to read a long piece of text, these are little ways, little hacks that we can kind of increase visual review time of the content that we're putting out. And essentially that's it. So as a creator, I love the algorithm because it helps me block out the noise. I'm all about niching down. The more curated your content is for your avatar of your ideal client, the things that they want to know more about, the things that inspire them, the more you create your content with them in mind, the more it's going to resonate, and they're going to do those things like share, comment, save. And these are all things that really help boost you up in a way that is organic. I know buying followers, fake metrics, they don't matter. Moving into 2021, the data that we care about the most is engagement rates. That's where you're going to see the most return on your investment. So something else that oftentimes comes up during this type of conversation is the algorithm. Can you hack it? How to beat the algorithm. Good luck. If you figure it out, please get back to me, is my response to that. The reason I say that is the algorithm is always changing. We can interpret things and trends as they come, but I think when you look too hard at hacks of how to overcome it, it takes your focus away from the quality of the content that you're producing. And that will rule always, because the algorithm is always going to be focused on connecting users with content that they like. It's important to keep in mind here, Instagram wants you to stay on it. Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, they want you to stay on the app. So they're going to work really hard to match you with the content that you are most likely to look at and scroll. As a small business owner, I really don't care about vanity metrics. I care that the people that are following me are excited about what I'm talking about. So I would rather, just to give some context to that, I would rather have 1,000 followers that are so stoked about what I'm sharing than 5,000 that don't engage, because we're not here to consume content, we're here to create it and just create a presence that's vibrant for our clients. So the fifth question that I get asked about the most is, how do we engage on social media and practice healthy boundaries? I know that social media, now more than ever, can be an environment that is not always the most positive depending on how you look at it. I hear from my clients things like, I'm afraid to be vulnerable online, or I'm nervous to share my opinions because you can't say the right thing. You're always going to upset someone. And I really want to acknowledge that those fears are very, very real. And there's some ways that we can work around them because, like I mentioned, we're here with a business mindset, right? We're here to advertise, we're here to market, we're here to connect with our audience and build one that is really, really powerful. So just some tips and tricks. And another thing I know with small business owners and entrepreneurs like myself, I don't have a marketing team. I don't have a content manager that's kind of doing this for me. So one thing that I have found to be tremendously helpful in this department is setting a timer, 15 minutes. Anytime I open a social media app, I'm on there for no more than 15 minutes during the day. Myself personally, I like to consume content in my downtime. So if it's the evening and I want to have a glass of wine and scroll my Explore page, I can do that. But during the day, I'm here to work. Another rule that I have for myself is create before you consume. If I haven't created a piece of content and put it out that day, I'm not allowed to zone out and scroll at my desk during my lunch break. And the last thing that I kind of want to touch on this is being mindful about the accounts that you follow. I want for you, as you're doing engagement with your own followers, to keep in mind, like, for example, past clients. I want to make sure that I see those and that they show up quickly in my feed. So I'm always going to like things that my clients are doing, my associates, colleagues, and just make sure you're engaging with the content out there of the people that you want to be having your business top of mind. So there you have it. Those are my top 5 most frequently asked questions, and I really hope they were helpful for you. But because this is Boise Startup Week, and I know you guys have a million things on your plate as startups, and you're wearing all the hats of the business, I want to work in some honorable mention questions that come up for me also very frequently. Lightning round number 1. So you're a small business owner. How much time should you be spending on which platforms? This is a fantastic question. So one of the keys that I always go to with my clients is play to your strengths. If you're a good writer, or if you have a quick sense of humor, Twitter might be a good one for you. Those micro content, just boom, boom, boom. Play to your strengths here. So if you have an eye for design, maybe you have an eye for photography, Instagram might be one that is really useful for you. So it all comes down to which platforms do you like being on, and which ones play to your strengths. And I'd rather see you focus your energies there. Of course, I'm an influencer, and Instagram, as we know, is the hub for success for that. The reason that I chose Instagram for myself and my business, because it has a little bit of everything. You have photography content, you have microblogging and the captions. Most social media educators don't favor long captions. I disagree. I think long captions are great, and I think people enjoy reading your thoughts and connecting with you. It also has a live feature. So it's kind of like all of the best concepts of each platform rolled into one. Lightning round, question 2. Where can I go to learn about social media? Is it School of Hard Knocks, or are there resources out there that you recommend? So you can hire a social media consultant to come in and create a customized plan for you, take the headache out of making a plan that way. Another couple of ways that I like for people to get some experience with this, look to other industries. So when I was first getting started on social media, one of my favorite things to do was look at photographer industries, look at fashion, look at blogging, and sort of just look to other industries to get inspiration and see what they're doing that you like, and think about ways that you can take those concepts and integrate them into your own content. It is a bit of a combination of School of Hard Knocks, and then this kind of comes back to the algorithm thing of like, can we create content that is catered towards success? And we're always sort of looking for this balance of quality and consistency. So you've got to be putting stuff out there. Not everything that I post is going to resonate or land, and I know that. And I'm an advocate of knowing what the rules are so you know when to break them. Lightning round, question number 3. How do I find my voice online and create something that's authentic without seeming cheesy? I love this. So there's all kinds of little things we can do to hone our authentic voice. I mentioned earlier your brand values. Always be looking at those. And the thing to keep in mind here, if you're trying something new, getting yourself sort of over that hump of like, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. One of the beautiful things about this type of marketing, it's consumed and rejected pretty quickly. If you make a piece and it doesn't really work, don't make it again. It's okay. Move past it. Coming back to your authentic self is always going to bring you success on social media. Our consumers and our followers are savvier than ever. They know a phony when they smell it. They can tell when you're not being authentic. And in my experience, the more true to myself that I am in what I put out there, the better it resonates and the better feedback I get from it. Another thing that you can do if you're feeling in a creative rut is take on the mindset of comedians. So I love watching stand-up comedy. I follow comedians. I love watching what they do. And you kind of get in this mindset as a creative of everything around me is material. Everything is relatable. Relatable content always performs well. So as you're going through your world, just write things down. I have notes in my phone. Anytime I get a thought, I write it down. This is like a side rant, but I think it's important that you guys know. So for myself on my own feed, very rarely do I take a photo, write the caption, and post in the same day. I have a working document all the time of different photos and different concepts of captions that I move around like a puzzle piece. So I get the perfect pairing before I go into my feed. Using a content calendar really, really helps with this. Lightning round question number 4. What do you see business owners doing wrong on social media? This is a great place to think about. Okay, so the first thing that I see that might not perform very well for most followers is graphic content posted to a feed that is meant for print. So a lot of small businesses have graphic designers running their social media accounts. And just something to keep in mind here is that graphics that are made for print media do not tend to translate well on social media. So if you rely heavily on graphic content, simple is best. Clear is better than clever. Social media content, again, is consumed pretty fast. So we don't like to spend a lot of time digesting what a piece of content is trying to tell us. I tell my clients even black and white font is a great place to start with graphics. The second thing that I see businesses doing wrong is getting out of their lane in a way that is inorganic and inauthentic to their brand voice. For example, using memes incorrectly. That's a great way to put your hand in the air and tell your followers that you don't know what you're talking about, which is not what we want, right? We want to play to our strengths. So if you're, heading into pop culture references, memes, anything very trendy, TikToks, I recommend to tread lightly in that department if you're newer to social media, and really come back to your authentic voice and those values. I hit on that a lot because it's the North Star of your content. It will always lead you in a direction of something that is really, really engageable and binge-worthy. And lightning round question number 5. What is the first thing that you look to when you're taking on a new client? So one of the first things, I kind of have a three-part process with most of my clients' projects. And the first thing that I look at is their profile. So I start from the top and work my way down. So for example, having a profile photo that is well lit, maybe sharpened up a little bit. Instagram is a visual platform. So having visually appealing content is going to help. So little hot tip on that, I tend to advise to stay away from the classic headshot on Instagram. It's social media, it's casual, it's conversational. So sometimes if you have a headshot, it's kind of like immediately telling your followers or potential new followers that I might make boring content. So maybe something a little bit more casual, but professionally, lifestyle, looking good. Your bio is your virtual calling card. So making some keywords of what you do, what your offerings are, things like that. Just tightening up that profile so that it's really, really engageable. The second piece that we work on together is creating their content plan, creating their content calendar. And the third piece is really getting focused on strategic outbound engagement, brand partnerships, and affiliations and tagging. So when you're tagging other accounts, if you're making good content, it's more likely that that account will then share your content to their page. And now you're getting your business in front of brand new eyes at zero cost to you. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really hope this was valuable to you. The fact that you're here means you're showing up for you and you're showing up for your business, and that in and of itself is huge for your success. I'm so thrilled to be here to have the chance to talk to you guys. If you have more questions for me, you can find me on social media. I'm at Toby in Boise on Instagram. My website is greatsociallife.com. That's my consulting website. You can at me, beat me, DM me, make a comment. I will reach out, send a smoke signal if you want. Come find me. I love to talk about this stuff, and I'm so passionate about helping fellow entrepreneurs and small business owners thrive on social media. Thank you guys so much.